Pharisees and Sadducees, two religious groups of the day when Jesus was doing his ministry that did not agree with each other on a lot of things, but they agreed with each other on one thing, that they needed to get rid of Jesus. They continue asking for a sign, and Jesus says there's no sign for this generation except the sign of Jonah. That is an interesting insight, for we know that Jonah is authenticated by Jesus' words, but also, what was the sign of Jonah? That he went into the belly of a large fish for 3 days and 3 nights and came out. Very likely died and resurrected, for all we know, in the belly. The warning Jesus is telling his disciples is to avoid the leaven of these Pharisees and Sadducees. Avoid the traditions of men. Did you know the term traditions is to almost surrender to give yourself over to those traditions? That's what it is. It's something you completely give yourself over to. Jesus is saying you need to watch what they're saying. Be careful. They're trying to put you under a thing that God never meant for you to be under. It's all about works mentality. We cannot have that. Crushing people with unbearable debt, unbearable amounts. You can read for yourself in Mark 7:3, 5 and 8, Luke 18, 9 to 14, Matthew 23, 1 to 7, Luke 11, 53 through 12, 2. Learn more about the Pharisees and Sadducees and the sign of Jonah that we see here as well. Understanding Jesus, Messiah, Son of the living God. What does that mean to you? Think about that question. We'll talk more about it. But mostly, be aware that there is false teaching out there. That's why it's so important for us to know the Bible, to know it backward and forward, every word that God has spoken, Genesis to Revelation. No one is going to die for the beliefs of another person. But you need to believe these things for yourself, what your heart knows. God bless. Thank you for listening.